And welcome back to another video. Hope everyone is having a good holiday season so far, hanging out with family, eating some good food, hopefully playing a few video games, or a lot of video games in my case. But today I wanted to, I guess it's going to be a start of a series I plan on doing probably once a month or so, where I highlight a couple of games, hopefully a little bit different, well, from each other, and hopefully a little bit different, each month. But a couple of games that I think, and for ones that have worked for me to reduce stress and to just relax. Yes, I've seen a lot of it lately, and especially this year. I think it's extremely important that people find that outlet to relax. And you see it too often. I saw just this week of too many horrible news of people taking their own lives or losing their lives, and people trying to cope with that, the ones they leave behind, and it's a hard time. And so, there's so many things out there to help. I mean, there's hotlines, and there's, different organizations, and obviously just people that are always willing to help and willing to, to be there for people. And, this is just one way that I wanted to try to, get it out there, just for the fact that, these are the ways that I relax. These are the ways that I deal with stress, are video games, and more specifically, these games that I'm going to highlight today, these couple, but also just kind of like the genres in particular. So, on that, I mean, if you can, absolutely, subscribe, like the video, if you like it, if you have any recommendations of which ones you think I should highlight, but also please share if you can, try to get the word out there, because you never know, who this might help, who it might affect, hopefully in a good way, and that, who might need it, there could be someone out there that, that sees one of these games for the first time, and I want to try that out, and that could be their outlet. That could be what kind of helps them come back from the brink, helps them find that escape that lets their mind process the world in a different way, in a more healthy way. So if you can, I really appreciate it, and hopefully we help some people. All right, so for it, I'm probably going to do, at least for each of these videos that I do, subsequently, every month or whenever I do get to them, I plan on doing just about two games each month. Ones that are a little bit different. Hopefully they're not too similar, each one, but obviously they're going to be different games. And I pick them based on a couple of factors. For one, just obviously if I enjoy them. Obviously, I'm not going to pick a game that I don't. And going to be picking games that really there's not a lot of, I guess there wouldn't be a lot of controversy versus if they are relaxing or not. I'm honestly probably never going to pick a shooter, first-person shooter in that aspect. There's very few that would have the effect, and a lot of the studies that you see around, regardless of how true they are, skewed they are, whatever the case may be, because obviously things can get cited, whatever way that whoever's doing it can, they can cite it whatever way they want. Excuse me. But things like Call of Duty, things like Fortnite, things like Apex Legends, even the games like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, even Ghosts and Goblins, if we want to go that far back. I'm not going to do some of those games that basically are touted for their difficulty, or are solely really based on that multiplayer aspect, and I guess in that competitive, I guess, aspect would be more the case, not multiplayer. And the reason for that is those type of games are meant for that competition, or the difficulty, I guess. They're meant to test you. They're meant to kind of push you. In a lot of ways, I mean, that's going to induce stress. If you're playing Call of Duty and you're constantly losing, obviously that's not gonna help you relax or help you de-stress. That's going to make you more pissed off, and that's the exact opposite of what we want. So you probably won't see many like that. But if there is a game, first-person shooter, or another type that you do find relaxing, or that you think could be on this list, let me know in the comment section, because you never know. This is just my personal opinion, so obviously this isn't a definitive list. This isn't hey, this is the only way you can go. There's so many opinions out there of how to do it, and really the main purpose of these videos is to try to bring particular games or bring genres of games to people that may need them. So there's really no one right answer for this. So with that, let's get into the first one. All right, so the first one, it's very new, and it's one I'm playing. I honestly haven't. I can probably guarantee I haven't gotten very far into it, but I have put I believe 10 to 12 hours into it already, and that is Immortal Phoenix Rising. So obviously this one PlayStation 5, but it did come out on, I think, everything on the I believe PC, I believe Switch, or well, I know the Switch, Xbox One, PS4, Xbox Series X. I think it came out on everything, and so the reason I picked this one is, for one, it has a lot of, it's a very open world game. It's very just, you can follow a storyline to an extent, but you don't have to. You can just kind of go wherever. So it kind of gives you that freedom to really choose. You can sit there and collect herbs and collect items and craft potions. You can go through and take on their mini dungeons, which has a lot of like puzzles and just small little things you got to overcome. So it has that aspect, and if you have played the Zelda Breath of the Wild, you will see a lot of extreme similarities. I will say that aspect. So if you were a fan of that game in general, which basically they're very similar. We'll leave it at that, and it's a fantastic game in that aspect. So one of the other reasons why I picked it is it has some great music. I mean, it's kind of subtle. It doesn't it's not really in your face too much, but it's just kind of nice. It's calming. I found myself just sitting there listening to it and just looking at the world, because the world, it looks beautiful. Obviously, I am playing on the PS5, so I do have that extra hardware, that extra power, kind of backing it up. So there are some things. I mean, I'm guessing if you're for sure on the Switch, it's probably gonna look, might not look quite as crisp and clear, but my brother has it on the Switch, and from the reviews I've seen of on the Switch, it still looks amazing and it still plays solid. So still a great choice, whatever system you play on. And one of the other big reasons that I picked this one is that it's very lighthearted. Now, if you have played it, you will have noticed, like, it's the story is narrated by Zeus and Prometheus, both gods. I guess I didn't mention it is basically all based on Greek mythology. So if you are into that, you really love the story, love the locales, love a lot of just the kickbacks that it gives to Greek mythology in general. So a lot of all of the setting, a lot of the items, all of the dialogue, it all is all centered around that. But it's very lighthearted, it's very funny, and it just in general, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, the main character you pick, you have some customization options. You can pick a female or a male. You can change their appearance quite a bit. You can change it even in game. So you have the complete freedom to do anything like that in the game. And as you're going, I mean, just some of the commentary back and forth as you're going, because I mean, you'll have these two gods sitting there and basically narrating what you're doing as that character and as you're doing it to an extent, and it's really funny. And I mean, there's been multiple times I just found myself laughing at it as it's going, because there's a times it's extreme, very ridiculous and just over the top, and there's times that it's just they just make jokes about it and they just have fun with it. So fantastic game. I'm having a ton of fun with it, and definitely one that obviously it's new, so a lot of you may not have played it. So if you do have the option to get it, I highly recommend it. I know you can get it on Amazon. It's $10 off the regular price. You can get it for $49.95, obviously plus shipping. Tons of options. It's fun. It's light, and you could be playing it for a very very long time, depending on how you want to play it. So one great choice that I do think would help you relax, help you de-stress, because you just immerse yourself into that world. You can get really into it, and there's just so much to do. So if you can, I'd give it a shot. All right, and the other game we're going to highlight today is a Switch game, and it's one that came out very soon after the Switch launched, and I picked it up as soon as I possibly could, and that is Octopath Traveler. So this one is a take that some people may not like, depending on when they got into gaming. I found that a lot of the newer gamers aren't quite as big of a fan of this style of game, which is I guess it's more reminiscent of the I guess what they call the old school RPG. It's from the the 8-bit era. The characters, I don't know if you can kind of see on there, but it is in more of, or that, not the 8-bit, I guess, that 16-bit style, where you have smaller characters. It's in more of like a 2.5D type world, so it's not full 3D. You're not in a really an open world, but it is heavy on the story. And the way they did this game was very unique, as in you can pick any of the characters. There's 8 characters total that you can choose from, and they all have a very rich backstory. They're all very different in their backstory, and their pathways are all different. So you pick a character, like I picked myself. I think his name is Ulbrich. I think it's how you say it. And he's kind of like the typical knight, the typical swordsman, sword and shield, the heavy hitter, that kind of thing. But as you're going through, then you can also choose where you go next in the storyline. So obviously you're going to hit all each story arc at some point, I guess, depending if you finish the game. But let's say you could go to the merchant next, and you play through her storyline, and then you two meet up, and then you'll go to the next one. You have 2 people in your party. Then let's say you'll go to the thief, and you decide to do that one, and you go through his storyline, and then he's got the party. Then you'll have the 3 of them, and so forth. So it was very interesting in that aspect of how it went. Of there was really no one right way to do it, no one right way to go through the storyline. It wasn't as linear as a lot of RPGs, and especially JRPGs are. Excuse me. But it made it so that, like, when I played through it, then when my friends played through it, it wasn't the same. We were like, oh yeah, I took that pathway through first. I got the hunter first, or that was my second character I got. Oh yeah, I left the scholar and the cleric till last. So it's kind of fun. So you found that way, because if you do play it, and let's say your spouse plays it, your kids play it, or you and your friends decide to play it or play through it again, I guess, if you already have, your playthrough is going to be different every time. So I picked this one just for one. It harks back to that old school era of RPG gaming, which that's when I grew up on. I loved it, playing Final Fantasy 4 and 6, and then even some of the newer ones, Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, Final Fantasy 14 with the MMO. That it takes all that. It's kind of have that job system, has that rich and deep storyline that you can just immerse yourselves in, and you'll pick that favorite character, and you just follow them. You want to see what happens next with that one, what happens next with the dancer, and where does she go from there? What happens with the scholar, when he's in that I guess strive for knowledge. So I really like that about it. And I mean, I played this, I'm pretty sure when I finished it, my playthrough, I had, I think, like 83 hours. So I mean, I sunk a lot of time into this game. The game mechanics are just so solidly done. They're crisp, they're fluid. The combat system is unique enough that it's not quite the basic RPG, where it's turn based. You attack, the enemies attack, you attack, so forth and so forth. You can change it up a little bit, where you can compound attacks and do a lot at once. If you've played the Bravely Default series, Bravely Bravely Second, and the soon to be released Bravely Default 2. This is from the same company, I believe, that they made that one, so there will be a lot of similarities to that. But I do think the art style that they took with this one puts the Bravely series to shame, at least right now. The new one does look pretty good, but it just looks so vibrant and so, I guess, subtle at the same time. Like, it's not just like very bright and in your face like a lot of them, and even not like Immortal Phoenix Rising, but it has that just almost like realistic colors, and just busy backgrounds. The scenery is just beautiful in the game, and then as you're going through it, like, you're interacting with a lot of things. You're seeing so many different locations that I honestly don't think I ever got bored with this game, even through all 80 something hours of it. So in that aspect, it's fantastic, and you'd have a lot of fun with it. And Another thing well, I guess I have to say, because I honestly have almost nothing bad to say about this game, is the customization. Obviously, like I mentioned with the story, you can choose where you're going and who you go to next, but you also have, as you're progressing, the merchant can become a scholar, or can become a hunter. I think they have three options for each character you have, and so you have so many customization options in terms of how each character is going to play, that you can get there's so many, there's, I mean, multitude of combinations of the party that you can have as you're going through the game, especially as you get toward the end game, that you can choose, you know what, like I want to have more melee heavy, or you know what, I want to have more range heavy, or magic wielder heavy. So there's so much, I guess, ways that you can play, that it gives you that freedom. You're not locked down to that specific character and that specific job that they're in, that trait that they're in. So it's really nice for that. And again, it's just one of those. It's so unique. And in my opinion, both within the mechanics of the game, but in the storyline of it as well, and how it progresses, that it definitely it blew me out of the water when it came out, and it was one that I wasn't expecting, especially that early in the Switch life cycle, and just have that good, solid of an RPG in that style, because you definitely don't see them anymore. You have some indie companies that are doing a great job with those type of games, and some of the RPG games, and obviously you still have like the Dragon Quests and the Final Fantasies that, for the most part, are all fantastic games. But this one definitely took me by surprise. I loved it. I let my brother borrow this one, and he loved it. So if you can, it's one that, it may not be for everybody if you don't like that type of gameplay, but if you've never played an RPG, and more specifically JRPG, or from this company, or just a game that's in this older style, I highly recommend you do, because it's one that you will get sucked in to that story, and you're just like, you know what, I need to know what happens next. I need to know, and I think you'll get lost in it. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So it is one. I think it's relaxing, but it's challenging enough that it gives you that you get that sense of accomplishment, and it gets exciting when you do finally beat that boss. If if you died a couple of times, or when you get to the next area and you can finally kill the monsters because you've leveled up enough, that kind of thing. So just all around, I don't think you can go wrong with it. All right, so that's the only two I'm gonna do. I may do three in the a third one in the future, that kind of thing. But we'll kind of keep it short and sweet for that. But again, I picked those two games because they are similar in some aspects. Obviously the Immortal Phoenix Rising does have some RPG elements to it, but is more of an open world kind of action adventure type of thing. But there's just so much to do that you'll fall in love with the world. And then Octopath Traveler is just so story heavy and so narration heavy, along with just solid gameplay, solid mechanics, that you'll just have a blast with it. And it's one that, if you've never gotten to that older era, it could be a great starting point, because you can kind of see that polished, like almost like swan song of the genre. Because in my opinion, it really is. Like, it takes a lot of the great things of the older RPG genre, but then updates them and brings some new mechanics into it that makes it feel fresh and makes it feel new. So I guess in that aspect, if you have played some of the older stuff, if you played the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo, the 64, whatever case may be, and you've played a lot of those older RPGs, but you never you've kind of fallen off the radar for them. Whether you grew up and got out of video games, or whatever the case may be, it would be a great option to get back into. But so yes, one for the Switch, one for the PS5, but it is also on all of them. So if you have a Switch, you can get both of these on that. If you have a PlayStation, obviously, or I guess PS4 or the PS5, you get the Immortal Phoenix Rising. I do believe they actually did release Octopath Traveler. I think it went through Steam, maybe, or just PC in general. So again, a lot of options and a lot of avenues that you can play any of these games, but I highly recommend it, and especially like if you are struggling with something, if you are stressed out about whatever the case may be, or you're having a rough time. You know, you're feeling lost. You don't know what to do in general with life. You know, like a lot of time, yeah. If you know if it's bad enough, you should seek professional help. You should seek someone to talk to, that kind of thing. And you should always talk to somebody. You should always have friends that you talk to for whatever reason, even if it's about something dumb. For me, it's my older brother. I mean, we've been playing through the Dark Souls right now. We're on number 2, and I'm pretty sure we probably talk on average probably at least an hour or 2 a day. A lot of it is just about the gaming, but just in general about life, about work. So you should always have that person. And you know, if it's on the phone with someone, if it's talking with someone online, you know, whatever the case would be. Shoot, if it's hitting me up in the comments there, or finding me on Twitter and sending me a message, by all means, I'll talk with you. I'll chat with you. Just, you know, if you are strong, reach out to someone. But if I do see a lot, because I've been this way in the past, and it basically, if you can't bring yourself to talk to someone, if you either ashamed or afraid, or you don't think it's that big of a deal, but you have been that feeling that loss where you need something. I honestly think either of these games would give you that something to help you relax, help you stress, and it just may give you that avenue that could potentially lead you into a better place, and lead you into I guess a more stable place. If you're at that level. But anyways, guys, again, if you can, please share this video. Let's get it out to as many people as we can, because we never know who's struggling. And when things like that happen, and you lose someone, and especially when it was under tragic circumstances, people say, he's like, oh, I never knew. He was always so happy. They were always so happy. And so you just never know. Some people can be the happiest person in the world, at least on the outside. So I really hope this does help. Again, if you subscribe, you'll get notifications for all the other stuff I do, and I do plan on doing these at least once a month. So we'll pick new games, maybe per fan recommendations, depending on if you guys comment. But yeah, other than that, until the next time, we'll talk to you guys later.